The International is coming. The world's best Dota 2 teams fighting for their chance to be forever remembered as the greatest players of all time. Each team and player bringing with them a unique story to share. This is the International Lowdown, and this is the story of Team Fnatic. The last laugh. People love to poke fun at pro players and pro teams because they're really living the dream. It's not hard to get a little bit jealous. And more often than not, that jealousy manifests itself as mocking their every tiny mistake. But you, the pro player, get the last laugh when you're one of the best teams in the world. Such is the story of Team Fnatic, an organization that has taken many risks in the past, investing in up-and-coming Dota 2 players. And while the squads were famously a little shaky when they were starting out, they did end up bringing some of the most incredible results we've seen in Dota, like their 2012-2014 squad with No Tail and Fly, who made Fnatic a household name in the Dota scene. Next up, they would invest in Mushi, which was a big leap at the time, as the organization was European and Mushi was famous for building Southeast Asian squads. Mushi would build squads in Fnatic from 2015 till 2017 with some amazing results, taking them all the way to TI6, where they placed in the top 4. Mushi, however, eventually chose to leave Fnatic, and it would be an end of quite an era. Despite an attempt to put the likable and talented DJ as the captain of their team for TI7, the team saw their worst performance to date, placing 18th and not even reaching the main event. Fnatic had done nothing but take risks so far, and this would be their first big loss. So Fnatic did what many believed to be the riskiest thing an organization could possibly do at the time. They gave the reins to Eternal Envy. EE is a man of Dota legend. Envy appeared on a forum one day and made a seemingly insane announcement. He was gonna quit school, stop doing anything in his life, and become the most successful streamer and pro Dota player in Dota 2's history. That response was, about what you would expect. A few people begging him not to do it, telling him he was making a terrible mistake, but the majority of people just making fun of him and telling him he was out of his mind. EE, however, is a man that always believes in himself, even when nobody else will. Eventually, he formed No Tidehunter, a squad that would later become the world-famous Alliance. It was on that squad that he broke records, and he became a household name in Dota 2, the first public underdog that became a true Tier 1 pro. Despite being kicked from the team he created, Envy never gave up, and he continued to fight for his entire career. When no teams would hire him on, he made his own team once again, calling it Team NP, and going on to see some marginal successes. Fans like to play a game called 50-50 EE. The game is pretty simple. In any situation, Eternal Envy could pull off one of the greatest moves in Dota 2 history, or he could fall flat on his face. While the community thinks that the chances are pretty much even, a flip of the coin, if you will, the game is always rigged, because Envy makes sure that in the end, he always wins. Eternal Envy's partner in crime is Pylai Dai, a Swede with looks and skill that have been known to kill. The duo have been teammates multiple times before, and although Eternal Envy would kick Pylai Dai from Cloud9 back in 2015, the pair were reunited once again on Team Secret a year later, going on to win the Shanghai Major, the biggest win of both of their careers. A friendship that was forged in flames, the pair are now rather inseparable, and EE went as far to say that Pi is the best player in the world. Pi has spent years mastering the mythical Position 6 support, a position where he voluntarily starves himself of any farm but can still deliver the world's biggest plays, a position PPD is still trying to replicate to this very day. Pi has been by EE's side throughout his entire career, and he's always been a friend to the end, a perfect foil for Envy's insanity. Universe is considered the best player in the world by the majority of pro players. 23 event first place victories under his belt, one of the last players who has never missed an international. as long as you count his sub role for OK Nirvana at TI1. Universe has a history of wins and excellence few can ever hope to even come close to matching. And because he's still winning to this very day, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be taking over his records for winning anytime soon. One of the founding members of Evil Genius's most famous iterations, Universe is known as the best offlaner of all time. The Purple Punisher. He is historically famous for his Darkseer and Faceless Void plays, practically writing the book on how to play the heroes both in the offlane and pretty much in general. A player with so much skill, so much pedigree, you would think that by now he'd be satisfied. But you'd be wrong. He has left extremely successful teams in the past for opportunities where he could learn and grow. Like the time he left EG to go join Team Secret, and like the current period where he has joined Fnatic to learn some new skills in a new part of the world. Universe's long list of achievements and plays are pretty hard for me to sum up, but when every single captain that you talk to in Dota 2 says that they would kill to have Universe on their team, you know that kid is hot stuff. His time on Fnatic has been no different. Abed's infatuation with Dota started when he was only 7 years old, and even as a young child, he knew that being a pro was what he wanted to do with his life. At just age 13, he was making waves in the Southeast Asian leaderboards with his signature Invoker and his incredible Meepo. 15 years old, after joining Execration, he was gracing the TI6 stage as a wild card, where he was responsible for the first big shock of the tournament, the Meepo Massacre. Full had not done their homework on Abed and paid their price, with Abed ending Game 2 with 18 kills and 0 deaths, eliminating complexity completely from TI6. But Abed was no one-hit wonder, and by the end of 2016, he was making headlines once again, moving from his home in the Philippines to North America to play for Team Onyx. During his time on Onyx, he would break even more records, becoming the first player in Dota 2's history to reach the astounding 10,000 MMR, winning 13 of his last 14 matches to pull that off. Onyx picked up sponsorship by Digital Chaos, and Abed made it to TI7's main event. After TI7, the future of DC looked a little bit shaky. In November of 2017, after becoming a free agent, he answered Eternal Envy's call. Heading to his third TI in a row, he's not even 18 years old. Abed is one exceptional talent we'll be watching at TI. Now, while Abed is considered the Philippines' most explosive player, DJ, his teammate on Fnatic, was the first Filipino superstar. And much like Abed, he had to make a few bold moves to kickstart that career. In the early days of Dota 2, South Korea launched their own domestic league called the Nexon League, and DJ saw his way to get into the pro scene. DJ moved to South Korea alone, but he did find his place on a team called Eyes of the Tiger, which he would use to compete in the Nexon League. The team rebranded to Rave and became an all-Filipino squad. By 2015, Rave had made history with their crazy run in the first Dota Asia Championships, finishing top 6 ahead of Chinese giants like Newbie. For a Southeast Asian team, to finish ahead of China at that time was simply unbelievable. It was also DJ's biggest win in his career so far. However, DJ was still in some financial struggle, as later he would say that because being unsponsored, he lived off just eggs for an entire week. For DJ, the sign that he had truly made it, though, was when he joined Fnatic in 2015, who offered him the much-needed financial stability, but also gave him some exposure on a global scale. Once again, DJ took the leap, and in his first season with Fnatic, he placed top 4 at the International 6. DJ has been on the top of his game for the last 2 years. Now, he heads to his 3rd International in a row, looking to claim his first title outside of Asia. And thus is the story of Team Fnatic, a team that takes risks. Some of those pay off, some of them don't. People have mocked Fnatic this season, believing that the team has no chance for success. After all, they did attend 3 DPC events after forming, including 2 majors, and they lost every single game, 6 of their matches at those events, finishing rock bottom in all 3. But despite all of that, the team has come together in the end. They've laughed at EE, they've laughed at Fnatic, and they all thought that this team could never succeed. But here we are, at the biggest tournament in history, with Fnatic right where they belong. Once again, they are showing the world that they are the best players in the game, and the best the game has to offer. Fnatic, they're ready for their last laugh at this year's International 8.